Chapter 156. Encountering a demonic beast swarm. Upon hearing this, Kang Tian couldn't help but frown as he glanced at the group of people on the side, then nodded his head and handed over 10 top-grade spirit stones. Although with his cultivation, he didn't care about the threat of these 5 people. He didn't want to scare the snakes when he didn't know where the entrance to the ushering space was. Hey, kid, count on you to be sensible. Go to the side and stay there. Wait for some more people. Then we'll set off. Renhua hemmed and hawed and spun away. Kang Tian looked at his back and smiled coldly. On Nameless Island, Kang Tian meditated silently on top of a huge rock, his eyes looking at the huge stone tablet underneath the feet of Yanchuan's 5 people, his heart pondering. Judging from some of the traces on top of this stone tablet, it should have recorded some kind of information, but it had been erased by Yanchuan's 5 people. Associated with the words that Renhua had said earlier, these 5 people knew that the information leading to the ushering stage space came from this huge stone tablet. Good means, Kang Tian sneered in his heart. These 5 people had used the information about the space leading to the ushering stage to blackmail the crowd. Although the 10 top-grade spirit stones were very precious, but which of the people here were not young geniuses, and were all geniuses in their respective kingdoms? These 10 top-grade spirit stones could still be taken out. In addition, these 5 people knew that the Jidan stage space was very dangerous, and they were afraid that it would be difficult to reach the ushering stage space with just the strength of the 5 of them. So they gathered the crowd, wanting to use the strength of the crowd. This was really 2 birds with 1 stone. A hint of killing intent appeared in Kang Tian's eyes. If he didn't know the information leading to the ushering stage space, he would never have let anyone threaten him. The others in the surroundings dared to be angry. After all, the strength of these 5 people could not be underestimated. Apart from Kang Tian, no one could do anything about them. This kind of time, in the blink of an eye, a month passed. Within this month, a total of more than 100 people came to this nameless island. Among them there were more than 10 of them were all young geniuses of the Great Hong country. They immediately united with the 5 people of Yanchuan to become the most powerful strength on the island. The others obediently surrendered 10 top-grade spirit stones and then waited to depart together. Of course, those who were able to come here to attend the Heavenly Tao Sex Apostle Acceptance Ceremony were all young powerhouses on one side, so it was inevitable that some of them had fiery tempers, and those who resisted Yanchuan and the others, but they were all killed by Yanchuan and the others. Under this cruel suppression, the crowd could only wait patiently, not daring to provoke Yanchuan and the others again. As for Kang Tian, he had been hidden amongst the crowd like a normal person. Few people noticed him. After all, the 5th layer of Jidan stage cultivation that Kang Tian had displayed was not noticeable. Any random person here was at the 5th or 6th layer of Jidan stage, and there were even quite a number of those at the 7th or 8th layer. Big brother Yanchuan, it's time to set off. We have already gathered more than 150 people here. It's enough to cope with the attack of the demonic beast swarms. When the time comes, let them be the cannon fodder, and we will be able to safely fend off the next island in a simple tent in the Great Hong Kingdom, Renhua said grimly. Other than these young geniuses of the Great Hong Kingdom, no one knew that the way to the ushering space required passing through an unnamed island, and the stone tablet on top of this island recorded the route to the next island, and so on and so forth. And when they arrived at the last island, they would be able to arrive at the entrance to the ushering stage. However, the stone tablet also recorded an important piece of information. That is, the sea between the next island is filled with endless demonic beasts. Even the ushering stage powerhouses cannot directly break through, must be combined with the strength of the people in order to resist the attacks of these demonic beasts. These people from the Great Hong Kingdom were trying to use the others as cannon fodder. Renhua is right. It's already been a month. We don't know how many islands there are yet. We can't wait any longer." A young jungler from the Great Han country said. His cultivation level was second only to Yanchon's, and he was also at the 9th level of the Jidan stage, so his words were still very powerful. Yanchon scanned the crowd and nodded, saying, "Since that's the case, let's set off. At that time, if we encounter a group of demonic beasts, then we will use those people outside as a cover, and we will break out with all our might." From the information recorded on the stone tablets, the journey between the two islands isn't very long, and we will at most encounter a wave of demonic beast swarms. So as long as we survive this wave of demonic beast swarms, the deaths and lives of those people outside will be of no concern to us. Yes, when the group of young junglers from the Great Han country heard this, they coincidentally revealed sinister smiles. Soon, under the notice of a young Junin from the Great Han country, everyone on the island got ready and gathered at the seashore. Yanchon then took out a boat-shaped magic treasure, which instantly turned into a huge black boat under the infusion of true essence. "Gentlemen, this is an extremely high-grade spirit weapon. Traveling speed is far faster than you all flying with your swords. We will take this boat to the Yuanying stage space. Along the way, we are bound to encounter demonic beast swarms attacking. When the time comes, everyone must follow my orders and unite to defend against the enemy. Otherwise, don't blame me, Yanchon, for being merciless." Yanchon was the first aboard the large ship and said coldly to the crowd. The crowd nodded helplessly at this. Right now Yanchon's side had the most power, and they were the only ones who knew the route to the Yuanying stage space, so the crowd could only unwillingly cooperate with them. Kang Tian mingled amongst the crowd, forming a detachment with the 9 young jungles, so that they could work together to defend the enemy. After everyone had boarded the large ship, it began to start and traveled towards the northwestern direction of Nameless Island. The leader of the 10-member squad that Kang Tian was in was a large yellow-clothed man, and at this moment, he was transmitting his voice to the crowd. "Brothers, since I am honored by your love to be elected as the captain, then I naturally have to look out for your safety. I'm sure you all know very well that these strong men of the Great Han Kingdom only want to use us as cannon fodder, making them safe against the Yuanying stage space, and we mustn't just sit back and wait for the death of the enemy." The big man in yellow was called Wangshan, a little rough-looking, but was very shrewd and had long since seen through Yanchon and the others' calculations. In fact, most of the people present were clear about it, but only Yanchon and the others knew the direction to the Yuanying space, so there was nothing they could do about it, not to mention the fact that if they didn't gather the strength of all the people, they wouldn't be able to arrive at the Yuanying space safely. "Captain, we understand what you're saying, but they hold the information that leads to the Yuanying space. We can't give up even if we're not willing to. Otherwise this sea is vast. Where do we have to go to find the entrance to the Yuanying space?" A member of the team sighed, and the other faces did not look good either. Kang Tian nodded. It seemed that none of the young talents who were able to participate in the Heavenly Dao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony were fools. That being said, once we encounter a swarm of demonic beasts, we can't die charging upwards. We just need to combine our efforts to protect our own people. As for the deaths and lives of others, it has nothing to do with us. Wangshan said. Captain is right. We must not be used by them. HMPH. Those Great Han country powerhouses want to use us as cannon fodder. They really think we are idiots. Since the 10 of us brothers are able to be in a squad, it's fate. This time, the 10 of us should do our best to cooperate. Even if we really turn against them, the 10 of us are still a considerable force. I know a friend who is from another squad. Let's unite a few more squads. At that time, even those people from the Great Han country won't dare to do anything to us. Several members of the team stated their positions one after another. They were all young geniuses of their respective kingdoms. Each one of them surpassed ordinary people in terms of both talent and resourcefulness, so they knew very well what they should do at this moment. Kang Tian was very surprised as he listened from the side. These people were able to come to the Heavenly Tao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony. Each and every one of them was indeed not simple, and immediately thought of a way to deal with the strongest members of the Great Han Kingdom. After the 10 of them had finished their meeting, a few of them went to contact their friends in order to unite with other squads. As long as they united with 2 or 3 squads, then there would be 20 to 30 people. And at that time, even the strength of the Great Han Kingdom would not dare to underestimate them. The same way is not only they know, other squads also have their own intentions, have united. After all, they are not idiots. Know that at this time only united to resist the powerful forces of the Great Han country. Even if they can't resist the forces of the Great Han country, but also enough to protect themselves. This brother, still don't know your name. Do you have any comments? After waiting for a few members to leave, the Captain Wang Shan came to Kang Tian's side and said with a smile. Only a trace of essence flashed in his eyes. He could see that the youth at the 5th level of the Jidan stage in front of him was not simple. Although Kang Tian's cultivation was only at the 5th level of the Jidan stage realm, if you looked closely at Kang Tian, you would find that Kang Tian's body exuded a vaguely powerful aura. Wang Shan's cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Jidan stage, and his eyesight was still very accurate. Kang Tian, I come from the Great Tang country, Kang Tian said indifferently. Looking at Wang Shan in front of him, a hint of laughter flashed in his eyes. This Wang Shan was not simple. His cultivation was at the 7th level of the Jidan stage, but it was formed into a 7-turn violet Dan. This kind of qualification, coupled with his cultivation, it was not below the average Jidan stage 9th level powerhouses. Most of the young geniuses who were able to come to participate in the Heavenly Tao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony had formed 4 or 5 turns of quality in a Dan, and those who were able to reach more than 7 turns were geniuses. This Wang Shan in front of him was such a case, and that Yan Chuan from the Great Tang country was also a 7 turns of violet Dan, and the 2 of them were the strongest people on this ship except for Kang Tian. Great Tang country. Oh, Mr. Wang has heard a little bit about the Great Tang country. The name of the 4 masters of the imperial capital is very loud, especially that god of war, Zhao Wuji, is even more of a strong person that Mr. Wang admires. It's just that I don't seem to have heard that there are still masters like the Kang Tian brothers in the Great Tang country. Wang Shan smiled at his words. How am I an expert? I'm just a nobody. It's normal that Brother Wang doesn't recognize me. Kang Tian smiled faintly. Brother is too modest. Wang Shan hemmed and hawed, suddenly quietly closing the distance with Kang Tian, whispering, Brother's ability to hide his breath is indeed very impressive, but that 9 transformation golden Dan in your body is a blazing sun in Wang Mu's eyes. Possessing such a talent, if it's just a nobody, then a punk like Wang Mu can just jump into the sea and commit suicide. Kang Tian was stunned at his words. He couldn't help but look at Wang Shan in front of him in surprise. This person was able to know that he had formed the 9 revolutions golden Dan. It was really a good skill. It seems that there are people outside of people. There are still mountains outside of mountains are. People in this world really can't be underestimated. Brother, don't worry. Wang Mu just want to make a friend with you. Won't disclose your secret. After all, to be able to be in a squad is also regarded as fate. Not to mention that we are still the same teacher and brother in the future. Wang Shan said in a low voice. Like Kang Tian, such a strong person, he didn't dare to offend. He knew that even if Kang Tian only had a cultivation of the 5th layer of the Jidan stage right now, it would be enough to clean him up. After all, which of the strong people who were able to form the 9 revolutions of the Jindan was not a great genius on the submerged dragon list? Brother Wang, aren't we still friends? Kang Tian smiled at his words and looked towards Wang Shan. Wang Shan was stunned. Then he laughed out loud. Kang Tian also revealed a smile. This Wang Shan was not a treacherous person, and it was not a bad thing to socialize. In the vastness of the sea, a huge ship was traveling rapidly on top of the tumbling waves, and there was a thick defensive cover on the outer perimeter of the huge ship to withstand the rushing waves.